everybody, and welcome to Self-Help FAQ, the YouTube channel. I'm Barb, your host. And earlier in the week, we talked about self-trust, how it erodes quietly, and it's often because we explain away our inner signals, or otherwise known as intuition. I want to stay with that idea, but I want to go a step further. So I want to go more in depth about how these internal signals show up, how to recognize them, and how to translate them into something that you can actually work with without panicking, so that you're ready for change, or you don't want to panic or force change before you're ready. So the reason why a lot of people have trouble with their internal signals or intuition is because they expect it to show up with clarity, but it usually doesn't. I mean, it doesn't show up and say, I think you should leave now, or say no, or maybe make this decision right now. Instead, it will show up as a feeling of like unease or hesitation or some kind of discomfort. And because we're taught to value logic and certainty, we often dismiss those signals as, well, I'm just having some anxiety. I'm overthinking this too much. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. But, the uncertainty is not because you lack information, or it's not absence of information. The problem is it's the presence of conflicting data, some of which hasn't even reached our conscious awareness yet. So your internal system is gathering information constantly, whether you're aware of it or not, and it comes from three main places. First, the body. So you might feel it as tightness, heaviness, fatigue, restlessness, even shallow breathing or forgetting to breathe. That's happened to me a few times. And so this isn't random. Your nervous system reacts a lot of times before your mind has a chance to form a narrative on what's going on. And so next you have an emotional layer. So that can show up as like irritation, numbness, sadness, and sometimes it just doesn't match the situation. Often your emotions point to misalignment, and that's not a weakness. So you might also have like repeated thoughts and hesitations. You get the same question resurfacing, maybe the same doubt returning, a quiet sense of, I can't unsee this now. So, signals that you're having, they don't argue, they just keep repeating so that you'll notice. And while we're on the topic of intuition, I know you've probably heard it a lot said, the phrase women's intuition. So some people treat it like it's some sort of magic, and others just dismiss it entirely. But what they call women's intuition isn't mystical at all. It's pattern recognition developed through attention. So many women are socialized, even from a young age, to notice emotional shifts, inconsistencies between what someone is saying and how they're behaving, maybe changes in tone or mood or energy. And so women react to what's going on beneath the surface. And so this develops their strong internal system, especially when it comes to relationships. As we know, women have been hardwired to be the caretakers of children first. And so this carries over into relationships. They need to take the temperature of the relationship and read between the lines. So the irony is that the same conditioning that sharpens their awareness often teaches women to override it. uh, women are taught to be polite, be reasonable, wait for proof. And so the intuition doesn't disappear. It just gets buried under explanations. Now, you also may have heard that intuition comes from a higher power. People think that it's one way to describe the quiet and nonverbal cues that they're feeling. So I want to address this gently and clearly, that I don't think it comes from outside us. I think it's come from information we've already absorbed from the environments, from the cues from our environment. So your brain is constantly tracking cues, patterns, experiences. You read emotional and physical cues like body language, and you sort of assess, does this align or not, and is this going to be a risk? Is this risky? So when the conclusion reaches awareness without the steps, it can feel like, maybe it came from somewhere else. But it didn't, it came from you. I don't think it comes from a higher power. I really do think it comes from you paying attention and gathering data, and this data gets stored up in your memory, and then I think that's how you develop your intuition. So, and sometimes people, when they're feeling their intuition or getting cues from their intuition, they think of it as, oh, I'm just having anxiety. But to me, from what I've heard from other people and in my research, anxiety is very loud. It spirals. There's a push for immediate certainty. And there's a focus on worst case scenarios. What's the worst that can happen? And maybe expecting the worst to happen. But when your intuition is kicking in, that's usually quiet. And it's grounded in the present. What's happening right now? What am I feeling right now? And it's focused on like alignment, not catastrophe. So anxiety might say, oh, something terrible is going to happen. But your intuition will say, something just isn't right here. Something doesn't add up. So learning to tell the difference takes practice. And but noticing the tone is a good place to start. So how to translate these? You want to translate without overreacting. Don't jump the gun. Don't jump to conclusions. You don't have to act immediately on every signal. You don't have to leap into action, so to speak. So translation of these cues or clues from your intuition can be something like pausing instead of pushing, gathering more information, creating some space instead of making a decision. So go somewhere to think about it or write in a journal, give it some time, and then allowing yourself to say, I'm not really ready yet to take action. So your internal authority grows when you give it, when you respond respectfully to the signals. Even if the respect, you give it in the form of acknowledgement. I'm feeling this way, something is off, something isn't right, and I'm listening, and we're going to think about this. Give it some time. And so this is how you build your self-trust too. So after talking about all of that, I have a journal question for you if you'd like. So the question for today is, how do my internal signals usually show up, physically, emotionally, or mentally? Again, how do my internal signals usually show up, physically, emotionally, or mentally? So you're not trying to fix anything just yet. You're just trying to notice patterns. And so this is how fluency begins, when you're trying to translate your intuition cues, your internal signals. So self-trust isn't built through dramatic moves. It's built through quiet recognition and learning your own internal language. It can be one of the most protective skills you can develop. So I hope this has helped. Let's get stronger recognizing our internal cues, and we will study further in this subject. Please stay tuned for the next week. I am in the middle of a series. Well, actually, I'm beginning the series. Just started this week with the first video of the week earlier on self-trust. And so stay tuned next week for video number 2. And I hope you're having a great day. And I wish you all the best in 2026. And we'll see you next time on Self-Help FAQ, the YouTube channel. Have a great day, and we'll see you again. Bye for now.